Hey, what is happening, everybody? Welcome back to the Segment Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Hill, and I am joined tonight by two epic dudes from Cali Protectives. And this is episode 160. I can't believe we're all here at 160. We got Jason Evan. Did I say that right, Jason? Your last name?
It's even, but you can call me whatever you want. So,
Oh man, it's the bourbon's already talking. Cheers, Jason. And Jason, what is your title there at Cali, just for the folks so that they know who you are?
it's national sales manager is what. So a sales manager here at Cali.
Nice, beautiful. And then Brad, we have Brad Waldron down there, and he is I was told he's the custodian. He is the mailman. He, everything that comes in with owning a company, but one of the founders, Mr. Brad Waldron of Cali Protective, is in the house tonight. What's up, Brad?
Thanks for having me. This is exciting.
Dude, I am so stoked. And we're all drinking some stuff tonight. Brad, what do you have right there? You have something nice and cold on the boat?
I have. Oh, you like my AI generated background?
Where are you? Are you in Cali?
I am in Alameda.
Okay.
Right over my shoulder is Oakland.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. We call this the Oakland Riviera. My wife and I live here full time. This is our home. It's mostly awesome. Sometimes we hear gunshots from Oakland. But we're pretty far away. I don't think they can make it all the way over, so we feel pretty safe.
Depends on which way the wind's blowing.
Yeah, we got it.
Man. Trail Pimp out of the Lake Tahoe area is already saying, he's saying Oaktown in the house. We got quite a few people out here in the chats already. We got MTB Kaz Ozeki says, hey people, it's been a minute. I know we're getting the podcast back on a roll. We got Mountain Bike Q&A out of Miami. He says, yes, it has. We also have a thing called the Hole Shot. So the Hole Shot, you guys, is the person who makes the first comment, like right when the show starts, wins the Hole Shot award. Lately, it's been these cup holders, koozies, nice, so to speak, from Mother Earth. So a couple winners have declined them in the past, but hopefully tonight's winner is going to take them because there's a lot of them and I need to make sure I hand these out. We got who do we have here? We have Trail Monster out of Arizona. He's in the house. We got MTB Sheen Queen out of Michigan. She is in the house. What's up, Kim? Good to see you. And we got people joining up. So man, Riding Dirty, also out of Arizona, is in the house tonight. He says, what's up? So yeah, they're asking, is there a giveaway helmet? Is there a giveaway helmet tonight? No, I wouldn't put you guys on the spot. But we are going to learn. We are going to learn about these helmets. Go ahead, Brad.
You know what? There is going to be a giveaway. I'm going to give that person a choice of either an Invader 2.0.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so this is a special graphic for me specifically that was designed for me, and we can go into that a little bit later. Yeah. And so this is the Invader 2.0. It's part of our limited edition group of helmets that we've got out there as far as the colors and graphics. And then, or they have the choice. It's either an Invader 2.0 or an DH Invader, which is really selling out really fast for us. Yeah, which I think is one of the helmets you want to actually talk about. So at some point today. So yeah.
Heck yeah. So like, first of all, when it comes to, the chat's going crazy right now. They're like, oh yeah. We got MTB Queen going, what? Yeah, people are getting stoked. There's Pierre right there, says yee.
And I'll sweeten the deal up because I'll also get them aesthetic Trinity goggles that comes with two sets of lenses.
Oh, that is insane. Yep. Okay. We're going to have to make sure that we just that we get this. Is going to be a good one tonight, folks. Thank you all for tuning in live. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, you got to be live to catch these giveaways. You got to be on here because we got to do it. Well, we got to do it while it's live, so they can't say it's fixed. Haters will say it didn't happen. Trail Pimp is saying, I just broke my helmet at North Star and I'm a poor. Help me.
Well, with a Cali, I don't know if you know about this, but if you go and crash in a Cali helmet, We actually have this lifetime crash replacement program. So if you have an unfortunate get off, the first replacement's on us.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that, and that's true. That's very true.
I think it's for me. I'll jump in here real quick.
Yeah,
that thing whole started. People would send me emails saying, "Man, thanks. I'm doing good," and we'd exchange discussions, and I'd say, "Hey, if you send me your helmet, so I can study it," and I do, and I cut them apart and I look at them, and it was just a kind of behind the scenes thing. And all of a sudden marketing gets hold of it. It becomes a massive thing. And people around the company were really scared of it at first. What? We're really going to give away a helmet? And I'm like, I want every one of those things back. And we get them back. We study them. We look at them. We've made changes based on crashes that we've seen. So for me, forget all the marketing stuff. It's all necessary. You can't run these companies without that part of the company. But for me, it's a vital part of development. I want to see what happened, and mostly, I'm glad you're okay. And that's the case most of the time. But we want them back. We want to look at them, and then you get a replacement helmet. So it's never got as crazy as people would have thought. Some of our distributors in other countries go, "That's crazy. You can't do that." And it's like, it's really been a positive thing, and I love it for what I get out of it, which is I get to see what happens in real life, not just in the lab, and not just when I crash.
Man, that makes total sense. That's a great way to see what it does when it's out there and how you can make changes. It sounds like you've already made changes based on what you've seen in real life to those helmets.
Yeah, I mean, one of my themes you'll hear me talk a lot about through this whole time is I think helmets are too hard, and I think we can do better, and we need to put softer shit next to our heads. We have to balance that with big hits too, because they have to handle it all. And so how you do that, how you can manage that energy is super important. And I think one of the things I've been working on lately has been just how do we get softer stuff throughout the whole helmet, not just in specific spots, not just in the test areas, right? Yes, outside of those areas that even though we don't test them, matter. You still crash. Your helmet doesn't say, "Oh, I can't, I'm only going to hit here," that kind of thing.
Yeah, because there's different speeds, right? There's like slow speed, there's rotational force, there's all kinds of different things that I'm sure we can get into tonight to talk about how these helmets are safe. And then maybe that's a good place to start. Speaking of the helmets, how does one even decide they're going to start up a helmet company and do it?
Kicking and screaming, foolish behavior. I'll make the long story short. My original background was I was an aerospace engineer, a carbon fiber engineer on military aircraft. And sometimes I go, why the hell did I ever leave that? Unlimited timelines, unlimited budgets. That's a whole nother story. And I went to work at Specialized, like half the industry does, for a little bit of time, and was the helmet engineer there for a while. Eventually moved up to be the engineering manager. But somebody approached me and said, "Hey, we need a carbon fiber factory to help us with our helmets." Okay. So we were making, so that carbon fiber factory was feeding helmet shells to a helmet factory. And I was looking at the test results, and I was really not happy with what I was seeing. Basically, I was seeing a double spike in G-forces, and try and make this quick. Wow. Essentially, you hit that outer shell, the G-forces spike up, the outer shell starts to break down, the G-forces fall, then you hit the foam, then they spike up again, and then they finally fall. So think about what's happening inside your skull with that double spike in G-forces. Is your brain's going slap, slap. And so
around.
I asked the stupid question, this is a motorcycle helmet, right? This is a full face helmet. And I said, why are we in molding these like bicycle helmets? And to give credit where credit's due, Giro was the first in the late 80s, early 90s to start in molding bicycle helmets. And basically everybody looked at me like, no, you're crazy. That's impossible. You can't do it. It's a processing problem. I can get into that, but that would take a whole nother segment. So we'll just leave it at that. It's a processing problem. Coming from that R&D side, I said, well, let's try it. And, you know, and that is really the mentality I try and keep with Cali is just try. Just, you know, you're not going to succeed all the time, but keep that R&D mentality. Anyway, then, so we finally figured out how to do it. And what it did two things. It got rid of those double spikes in G-forces. It smoothed out the impact curve, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
But not enough. That's not enough. What we discovered was we could make the shell thinner and the foam softer. So I'm back to that whole theme you'll hear me talk about, softer shit next to your head. Yeah. So in doing so, now instead of the shell having a job and the foam having a job, they're now combined in doing a job together.
Together, so symbiotic.
Energy much more efficiently. So what did I do? Well, we patented, and I tried to sell the patent and have somebody else do it. And an unnamed major company came this close and then backed out. And so eventually we had an investor come in and said, this is awesome. You guys, I'll back you. So, you know, even though I'm one of the founders, it's somebody else's money. You know, that's how you get started. That's how you fall into these situations. So,
okay. Gotcha.
That's how it works.
Wow. What a cool story on how that all happened. And then you said goodbye to the aerospace place. It was like, I'm going to go do this on my own.
Yeah. I mean, as a cyclist, it's all our dreams. Look, Mark, you're doing, you know, look what you're doing, dude.
Yes.
You know, it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sure a lot of these guys out here are the same way. You know, we don't get paid aerospace money. We don't get Silicon Valley money. And we do it really because this is where we want to be.
Yeah. Do it for the passion and the money will follow type of thing. Yeah, definitely so. Dude, that's cool. I freaking love that. I love that. And that gets me really interested in how these helmets are different coming from that background and competing with some of these big helmets. Because a lot of the, like you said earlier, a lot of the helmets just seem to have like one type of mold, like an outer shell and then some foam. But what about all the other stuff? What about like, I forget, is it Virginia Tech who does the testing and they have like their own ratings and things like that for the, I'm not that familiar with it. And I don't know how much water it holds, but where does that Virginia Tech fit in?
Well, Virginia Tech, they started doing football testing and football helmet testing. And that's where they really got their claim to fame. They excellent lab. I've been there, spent some time with those guys to learn more. We actually spent a lot of time studying at a place called Dynamic Research, DRI, Dynamic Research Institute down in Southern California, to try and duplicate their tests. Super hard. They run their test through an algorithm to give you a star rating that we can argue, you know, how accurate that algorithm is. We also test in a lab in Strasbourg, France, the University of Strasbourg. They have a rating system too, completely different. And
oh man, that's confusing.
I basically have the philosophy that every test lab is different. They give different results. That does not mean they're bad or wrong. It just means that they're testing different. For example, Virginia Tech still uses as the background for comparing their data, they use the football data before they run it through their algorithm. So we've taken 5-star helmets from Virginia Tech and take them to other labs. And sometimes they don't do as well. But because our helmet tests are not as standard as you'd think, you know, there's so many variables in this. And so we as engineers have to kind of sort through that and say, all right, what makes sense? What doesn't make sense for us? For me, I keep saying it, going towards that softer foam, getting stuff to crush is my biggest objective. Put softer shit next to your head. Yeah,
that makes sense. Like, why put something hard next to our head? That's what we're trying to avoid. Avoid the hard stuff. We got a couple comments in here. Minez 408 says Cali helmets are 100. No joke. My kids and I only run Cali. Yes. Trail Pimp. Here we go. One of the riders out there. I just had a nasty crash on River Styx at North Star and hit my head hard and almost separated my shoulder. I need a good helmet. Yeah, definitely. It's huge. It's almost like it's the one thing other than the bike that we need to go ride. Like you don't show
Right.
up and go, I forgot my helmet. I'll still go anyway. It's
Mhm.
shit. I got to go back and get it.
Well, remember, our bikes are getting better, and they're
Yes.
allowing us to look. I'm getting old, guys. I mean, but our bikes are getting better and allowing me to do things that I didn't think I'd be able to keep doing, and even things that I couldn't do when I was more in my prime, right?
Yeah.
And so now the bikes are getting better. That means our equipment has to hold up too, whether it's our helmet or whatever. So we need to put as much energy on as helmet engineers, as helmet companies, whichever company it is. I do have a saying. Jason hates it when I say this, but the best helmet you can have is the one you're stoked to put on your head, whether it's a
I
Cali,
don't need that.
whether it's a Troy Lee, whether it's whoever. Just put the damn helmet on your head. We're we have our philosophies, they have theirs, but our bikes are getting better, and they're.
Yeah.
I love my bikes. So
Yes.
there you
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of bikes, real quick, just as a side note, what kind of bikes are you guys on right now? What are you guys riding?
Jason, you go.
I have a couple of. I mean, my mountain bike is a Norco Sight C1. Yep, and a VLT.
Sweet.
So e-bike, and there's pictures of it out there because I've had stickered, completely wrapped that thing in a Star Wars theme.
Oh,
And then
Richard
I
from
have-
Sticker? Sick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Richard from Stickered did a good. I sat there and watched them do it, and I was like,
it's a stick theme.
yeah.
It looks awesome. Yeah.
It's a very subtle nod to Star Wars, but it's Tatooine sunrise or sunset, however you want to look at it. But after seeing him do it, I'm never going to let him do that again because that's painstakingly a lot of work to do. And then and then I have a Turn GSD is my cargo bike to ride to and from work.
Oh, nice.
from
A
home.
cargo bike.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great grocery getter.
Those the first time I saw some of those were in Bentonville. I saw them all cruising all around like the hub area, and I was like, "What are those?" Yeah, those are dope. Dope.
yeah.
I could imagine those in Southern California with surfboards and coolers, and people going to the beach in those suckers. I just haven't seen them yet.
They're down there. They're in Southern California. I don't know if
Yeah.
you knew. I mean, the U.S. headquarters is there, and they got some really cool stuff. And a new fat cargo off-road bike
Ooh.
that I can't remember what it's called, but it looks like a for that all-day adventure rider. Not that that's what everyone here does, but for that person that wants to go bike camping, that seems to be the perfect bike to go do it on an e-bike.
Oh wow, that does sound cool. I do want to do one of those trips in my life, with the ones where you go from like tent to tent, like you go from hut to hut, way
Yeah.
back out there in the mountains. That would be an epic trip. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Right.
Nice. Brad, how about you? What are you rocking?
Oh my God, where do I start? I have a pivot switchblade,
Sweet.
which I definitely love. My e-bike is an Orbea Wild. Probably I've got a Chromag. Got to put a little plug in for EM at Chromag. Big fan of that brand.
Nice.
My most unique bike is Jason's already laughing. He knows where I'm going with it. When I was at Specialized, I worked on the original Tarmac, and I still have frame number 2. Frame number 1 we broke on the stress machine, and I kept frame number 2.
Wow.
And I'm not much of a road rider, and but you had it around because you just do on occasion. And unfortunately, I got hit by a car on that.
Holy crap.
Going to get margaritas with my wife. It wasn't even out on a road bike, on a road ride. And so Sterling, our local bike shop that's in our Cali warehouse, turned it into a townie for me. So I have Tarmac frame number 2 that's a townie. So the cool thing about that frame was it was a carbon top. So everywhere where you touch the frame, theoretically, You had, so the top tube, the seat stays were carbon. Then the underneath part was titanium. So we were trying to get a much more crispy, snappy feel. And the ironic thing, not ironic, the smart thing actually is just after I left and before I went to production, they changed it all over to carbon, which was the right move. But people see that because it doesn't have any stickers or anything on it, and it's unique, and it's the only frame of that ilk. And they're right. What the hell is that? Here I am riding around Alameda with my swept back bars as a townie on this, pretty quick
specialized frame number 2.
yeah. So it's kind of fun.
That's cool, man. That's really cool. Oh my gosh, you guys. Yeah. Isn't it fun how many bikes we can get and like the style of bikes and the type of riding that we can do on these things, man. And each one of them, you feel like you're a kid again. You don't feel like a business owner or an executive. You just feel like
nobody cares.
Pedaling. Right.
Nobody cares.
It's the best.
Let's just go ride.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, it's the best. It's the best. And you guys are definitely doing a great service to the community, making epic helmets to keep people safe so they can get back out and ride again. Like our buddy Trail Pimp out here that took a crash. Thank goodness you're okay, brother. But when you take a hard crash, the stuff that you guys are doing in research is helping keep people out on the trails versus like hanging it up. Now, when we talk about helmets, everyone knows MIPS, but Kali has its own version of MIPS, and it's actually called something else. Can you let us know a little bit about that? And then is there a place on the website that I can bring up to show folks?
There should be something on the website. Let me go take a look and while you answer that, Brad.
Oh, okay. So, we're going back into, my theme, softer shit next to your head. We looked at MIPS. We looked at MIPS hard. We know, MIPS was introduced to me back in 2000. So think about that. Think about when MIPS came into reality. It was research done by Peter Holder, a university professor out of Stockholm, Sweden. And what you really have to give credit to what Peter did was he brought attention to rotational forces. None of us were talking about that.
Yeah, that was the first time, right? Everything was oblique impacts, but nothing about rotational at the time.
Well, linear, straight down, drop it. You took a 5 kilogram weight, you dropped it at 6.2 meters per second. I can ramble on all these numbers. And all we did was smashed helmets all day. And what Peter taught us was, hey, we got to look at the rotation of the brain. Made sense to me. So, he introduced his slip plane, and we looked at it hard. I'm a fan of the work that was done. I have a few small issues with it in that I didn't like putting a layer between your head and the foam that's supposed to crush. So it's slowing down what we want to see crush immediately. So that's why we looked for other solutions. Literally back in 2010, we put memory foam in a helmet to try and put softer stuff next to your head, and our marketing didn't know what to do with it. So instead of talking about it reducing immediate impacts on your head, they called it bumper fit. So it makes your helmet fit better. No, that's not why we did this. But at the time, I didn't really pay attention much to our marketing. I was just trying to do what we do. Anyway, so eventually I met Dr. Plant, who's now of the company Rion, who did a lot of research on, his research actually started with the UK military on Humvees and how these guys would be in Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, and they drive over a bomb, and the Humvee was built like a brick shithouse, and it survived, but everybody inside got blown up, got thrown around and killed them. So he, how do we dissipate this energy? Well, Dr. Plant is a hell of a motorcycle rider and a hell of a bike rider. So, he wanted to expand his research into that. And I met him and we started learning about, hey, instead of this hard layer in there, what if we put in a softer layer that started crushing immediately on contact? Because if a helmet's too hard, it doesn't start crushing till 40, 50, 60 Gs. Well, concussions start at 74 or less.
Wow.
So we're basically ignoring, we're going, okay, all we want to do is take care of the worst crashes.
Yeah.
I think we can be smarter than that. I think we want to start from 0 all the way up and start to reduce those energies right away, right on contact.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Get as much of that as possible before it gets to you.
Yeah. So, I think that goes back into the idea of just be open to ideas. Here what's out. Literally, I ran into Dr. Plant at a snow show at the hotel bar. We didn't know each other. We just started talking. I said, I make helmets. He goes, I make stuff that goes in helmets. And it's just being open to, it's not being stubborn about what we do is the best ever. It's like, I'm going to tell you, if I have something in my helmets and I find something better, I'm dropping the old shit right away.
Nice.
Instead of, and that's hard because your whole marketing gets built around, well, this is the best, or that's the best, or, whatever. Never stop researching, never, and listen to, what's out there.
That's huge. Being able to sometimes, people get hung up on their ego and they're like, oh, actually, let me prove to you why this is better, even though there's enough information out there to show why it isn't. So that's cool to hear that you're willing to just say, hey, it's better. Let's go for it.
Always listen.
Damn. And then Jason, you came on board, you were as national sales manager, you must have been on board early on.
I was a sales rep starting in 2011, if I remember correctly. And so I've been with Cali for about 13 years. And
wow.
What attracted me to Cali was the fact that when I worked on the retail side for so long, I could understand all the different technology pieces when it came to different helmets. I mean, different bikes and everything. But when it came to helmets, it always stumped me. And the problem with helmets for me was, if people would come to me, it's like, why would I pay $200 for when I can just get a perfectly good helmet at $40 and or $100, right? And so, and I didn't if you look to that period of time with marketing and advertising, and you look at the old product catalogs, all they talked about was retention system, how much ventilation the helmet had, and they talked about it.
Do you have?
They talked about carbon and Kevlar cages, and Brad may have to correct me on something but the way I looked at it was, the way it was taught to me was the more ventilation you add to a helmet, the harder the density of the EPS foam has to be. And also because the more ventilation you're putting in, the helmets are falling apart. So they added the Kevlar cages and Kevlar and carbon fiber cages in order to hold the helmets together in testing. It had nothing to do with safety. In my original thinking, there might be some safety as it. They sold it as a safety feature, but it was actually a testing feature in the helmets. So the difference between a $100 helmet and a $200 helmet was the amount of ventilation in which one had a Kevlar cage and a carbon cage in it. But it turns out the $40 helmet was safer for you because it had lower density foam.
Interesting.
And so I was like, it clicked right away. And so what I would go to, and so you go to, and so I was at a point where I wanted to get out of the bike shops. I go to the retail, I go to Cali because it's local, it's down the street for me. And they're actually doing something that actually is making a difference. It's doing something different. Now, did our helmets always fit? Brad knows they didn't. The helmets have gotten much more comfortable, better fitting. I mean, they were ugly as sin, but what people liked about what Cali was doing was that we were forward thinking about top to bottom technology, whether it's internal or external. The reality is that we all know that internally at the company, most people didn't understand what was on the inside of the helmet because you couldn't see it. MIPS was very interesting because you could actually see it. And what LDL does for us is yes, it handles the low density. It handles the linear and low density impacts for us. I mean, linear and rotational impacts, but it also helps start the conversation and allows us to tell us more about what's inside the helmet. And it also, when we're talking to the dealer and and when we're at events with riders out there, we're talking about what's inside the helmet, like the geometric shapes, like the cone head, the difference in the types of materials, whether different, everyone can say they got multi-density foam in their helmets, but do you have a crumple zone in your helmet? Not really, unless you've got a cone head, which is what Brad pioneered. Like, other companies are using what we're doing, but Brad and Cali Protectives pioneered it.
This was the Conehead. The Conehead, great name, by the way. Give credit where it's due. This was an Australian physicist who was doing a lot of studies of bike crashes, primarily with children, and he had this idea to move into the crumple zones, and he's a wacky dude. I mean, he's just one of those thinkers that is way beyond my engineering background, and he just couldn't get people to listen. Me having worked with many of those kind of engineers that couldn't get themselves out of a wet paper bag, but had great ideas. I met with him one day. He presented his idea, and I said, and he's like, "Will you try it?" I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah, I'll try it. Let's see what it does." And so essentially, his name's Don Morgan. Like I said, he's a physicist out of Australia. And actually, my favorite line is, "Why are we still putting beer coolers on these kids' heads?"
All foam.
So the idea behind the cones is, literally you hit these cones, they crush down, and they kind of increase in density as they squish down.
That makes sense, right?
So now the top of the cone squish faster with the initial hits, but if you get into the bigger hits, it's going to squish down even more, and then you're going to get to the harder density that you need to get to. So that's the beauty of those geometric shapes, is it helps knock off those lower G's on a smaller hit, but it'll actually help with the bigger hits as it crushes down.
Wow.
The one of the craziest, I don't know how that works, but is that we actually believe that the cones actually help with rotational forces too, in that because you have a harder density and a softer density, as those cones fall over, they're creating a little bit of a slip plane because they're different densities. They're not locked and combined such that they can't roll. So, the whole thing about helmet testing is it's not one thing or another. It's not our softer shit next to your head. It's called ERT. It's basically very soft. It's meant to start crushing immediately. It's supposed to fold. It folds over to help with rotational systems, or with rotational energies. But what I've learned is it ain't one thing. It's not the ERT. It's the whole system. If the whole system's built right, you're going to have the best results. So if somebody comes in and like, with all due respect to MIPS does one thing really well. It reduces rotational forces. It doesn't help with all your impacts in every situation. And that's where we're trying to say is, look, you got to take care of everything in all impacts. And it's not our ERT. It's not the Rheon that you see, the blue stuff that's in there. It's lower density foam. It's cone head. It's directing energy in the right areas. So it's complicated to tell a story. I've been told so many times by professional marketing people, your story's too complicated. Well, it's your fucking head, dude.
Yeah.
They're complicated.
It better be complicated, right?
I hope mine stays complicated.
I think we just found our new ad slogan. It's fucking complicated. There you go.
Yeah.
It's your
IFC.
fucking head.
Yeah,
there you go.
This is the IFC technology. Yeah, when it all works together in unison, it's great, because it feels like before there were, they were leaning on one thing versus the other. And it's nice to be able to kind of put it all together and say, hey, there's a relationship between all of this. It all has to work together. And I love what you were saying about, almost like on our suspension, you have your light hits that's like subtle and supple. And then when you get into harder hits, it gets further down into the travel and it gets like more, more impact. That's what I was thinking of when you're talking about the helmet. I was like, yeah, I went to Coil because I love that supple feel,
Me too. I like Coil.
Yeah.
Wait, we fucked up. Wait, we didn't hear what bike you ride.
Oh, so I'm a YT guy. So I got a Decoy enduro bike. It's their e-bike enduro. It's a 170 in the front, 165 in the back. It's so much fun. I call that because Southern California, there's so much climbing and you get to enjoy all these downhills. So I call that my chairlift with the steering wheel. I just get up the mountain on that sucker. I also have a YT Capra, which I love. I've been loving that a lot lately because it's just, I forget how fun and playful those analog bikes are. You just toss them around. So good. And then YT Jeff C, it's their trail bike. It's their 150, kind of like their Swiss Army knife bike. I like that one. I'll take that to like Woodward to learn new jump tricks and stuff. And then of course the Dirt Jumper right back here that it doesn't get as much playtime, but that's the Dirt Love by YT. Yeah.
Sweet. Where's your local trails? Where you out at most of the time?
So Greer is really close by. Greer Ranch, built out by some super sick OG pro riders, and Aaron Gwynn used to spend a lot of time practicing out here. So that's where I cut my teeth at Greer. And it's just like rocky tech, jump. There's lots of jumps, lots of flow, lots of tech. You can get some really good stuff out there. And it's illegal, but we're working hard with the city to try to make it a legal spot. Great. Which is hopefully keep the bulldozers away from that place.
Cool. Well, I'm heading down to SoCal for a few months coming up. So,
dude, you got to let me know. You got to let me know. There's like Dog Park San Clemente. That's we call that the YT Trails. They built some big stuff out there when the YT mob was in town, and we went out there and we're like, whoa. Some of the stuff is really big. We got lots of bike parks out here too.
Sweet.
So yeah, tons of stuff we're gonna have to play on for sure. We got a donation to the show, you guys. Trail Monster just hit us up. He said, Trail Monster, $10. He said, is there any plans to change the shape of ratchet click dial thing that makes it tighter? Oh, like a boa, I think he's thinking of on the Invader 2.0. Part of that design is pointy in two spots and digs into my neck and head a little bit. He's asking.
I'm actually really glad he asked that question.
You want to handle it?
I'll be handling it because we got a lot of phone calls for that, and I'm follically challenged, and so it hurts me as well. And so every time I put the helmet on, you had the 2 pointy things, and it just and it but once the helmet's on, it's perfect, right? It feels great. It's just the initial put on. It's a little, and for some people, it's a turnoff. We're going to address that, and we will be getting new retention systems. I just don't know when. You should know when they're coming in, but
we basically changed the molds, and so we've softened those up. Actually, I thought we were done, so they should be in any time, and we can just send you a new system. You don't have to buy one. Just call us up and say, this thing fucking hurts. Can you send me a new one? And we'll send you a new one.
But make sure you see it that way. It fucking hurts, please. Call Jason.
It hurt me, so I didn't catch it early enough. But
don't ask for him. He won't answer the phone. Call me. I'll take care of it.
Yeah. So, we want you to have a great experience. And so we've already started the tooling changes. I swear I thought we were done, so I'll check now. I'm going to go check that when we get offline. But they are new ones coming, and we're happy to replace those for those people that it is conflict for.
And nice. I have tried some of the helmets that we've gotten some test models on with the new retention system, and they do feel much more comfortable.
Nice. Jason, is the helmet that you guys sent over, which I'll be testing out, I'll be actually racing, which I told myself I was done with racing, but I was talked into going back, and I'm going to be doing like a air DH and a slalom, but I'll be wearing your guys' Cali helmet in that and doing a YouTube review on it. Will that helmet, if I show the folks that helmet, does it have the same BOA system in it?
It's got the same retention system. It doesn't. I think it has the original version, but it will eventually become a running change. But we will, like Brad said, if it's annoying you, we'll take care of you. I mean, at the end of the day, it's One of the great things about this company that I work with is that we feel like we take full ownership of it, and if there's something, we just take care of it because our buddies we want to take care of, and everyone who rides a Cali is basically a buddy. We know that some things happen, we just get them taken care of. But if I mean, if there's an issue, we want to get it taken care of, and
That's
this is an issue for some people, and it's not easy. It's not something where you can turn around and just snap your fingers and boom, you've got this new mold. You literally have to make a whole new mold or change the mold in such a way that, and it takes time. So
wow, that's cool that you guys would do that, and that's got to be a big change. To molds are not cheap, especially
no, they're
when
not.
they're meant to
started.
produce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Pierre is saying here, honestly, you only get one melon, so you got to protect it. It's complicated, but yes, you got to protect it. To answer back to you guys, Trail Monster, who just asked the question, says, yes, it's fucking annoying, but I love the helmet otherwise. Yes.
Okay, let's make sure we get him fixed fast.
Yes. Yeah.
Just make sure you tell me your Trail Monster, and then I will just we'll get you taken care of. So
There you go, Neil. Make sure you reach out. Pierre just donated $10 to the show. He says the new limited edition colors for the Invader DH are so sick. And that's Pierre from Send It, Death Before Dishonor. So speaking of, I mean, this is a color that's probably not going to be out until October, I believe.
it's technically it's not officially out until October.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
And we got two of these. MTB Sheen Queen is going to be in one. And to give a female's perspective of racing in this, she'll be in the same race, or I should say, I'll be in the same race as her up in Canada in September. So we'll be getting film of that. But I'm going to show you guys what this helmet looks like. This is sick. And also, by the way, thank you. I saw goggles in there and mud guards. So that is dope. We got, let's see. Brian Gong is saying, what? Mark is going to wear Cali? 100%. Fist bump, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, baby.
You got to test them, right? So there you go. Got to try it out.
Exactly.
And while so I will tell you, these limited editions this past year have been massive for Cali and for the dealers as well. So,
ooh, here we go, folks. Oh, damn. That is sick. This is coming out in October. Look at this thing. This is the Invader DH. So fully DH rated. What are the ratings on this bad boy?
It's the ASTM standards for DH riding, as well as the CPSC standard, the European EN 1078, as well as NTA.
Damn, look at that, folks. That is cool. And I did notice these limited edition drops, when the colors sell out, they're gone. And you gotta, wait for the next wave to come out.
I was part of those decisions, and we were talking about it, and even the amount we brought in. And then I was like, oh man, I really want this color back. And they're like, you just got done telling us we can't have this color back. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. And so I think the fastest seller was the white hollow Zolt graphic Invader DH. I think it sold out in less than a week.
Wow, that's the one that MTV Sheen Queen had her eyes on for the races. One, yeah, that did go fast. Yeah, this thing's beautiful, man. I dig this. So this is going to be one of, now when you release these colors, how many sets of colors will be in this batch?
This is I think a total of 80 helmets.
Okay.
So between two sizes.
Sweet.
So like say 40 of each size, just about between
Sweet.
35 to 40 of each size. And so
Nice.
you notice that it's got that little tag for the NTA 8776, which is for lack of a better, for layman's term, it's an e-bike helmet as well.
Oh wow. So I'm cool to ride this on the decoy, all my bikes.
Yes. And so in the US we don't have an e-bike standard legally, but a lot of agencies, municipalities are starting to ask for dual certification. and it's in CPSC isn't just it can't just be CPSC. Does have ASTM. Is it 1970, whatever it is? But the 8776 from Europe, it's a Dutch standard. No, did I get that
Dutch.
right? No, Dutch standard is the most widely accepted standard.
Basically,
right now.
the Dutch said everybody said, "Oh, you have an e-bike, you have to wear a motorcycle helmet." And the Dutch are like, "Screw that, we're not doing that." So they're the first to come out with an official standard. This is not meant. The problem with helmet standards are they're complicated. There's a lot of opinions. Moving and changing standards are challenging. I mean, honestly, our standards our basic standard to sell a helmet is the same as it was since 1973, where we literally dropped cadavers on their heads. Oh. I do that like we grabbed them by the ankles and dropped them. I can't tell you if that's how it really happened. But basically, the measure was skull fracture. Had nothing to do with brain trauma. But okay, let's be honest. At the time, that's what we knew. And so it's not that in itself is bad. It's that we've learned so much more about brain trauma, and all those things we're talking about, rotation, oblique impacts, and everything else.
Yeah.
But getting government agencies to agree on anything is challenging. So, the better companies, and I like to think we're one of those, and we're not the only one. We look way beyond the standards. We look at what we believe in and what we want to do, but we don't always agree. I've sat across the desk in Troy's office arguing about, how to make a better helmet, and I've had Trek engineers in our office. They probably don't want me to say that shit, but and just discussing philosophies. I will talk helmet philosophies with anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care what company you are. I think as an industry, we need to be better, and we have the ability. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off on that. Other than to say, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on, but it's hard to get the government agencies. So good for the Dutch for doing what they did, but yeah, getting a consensus here in the U.S. is still pretty tough.
It's a slow process, but it's cool that we could see like past that and through that to be able to look at this and be able to say, okay, well, obviously we don't want to fracture our skull, but it doesn't take that much energy to get a concussion and to get one that could be long-term.
70 G's. 80% of all bicycle accidents, this is a study by the Imperial College of London. So if you want to trust those guys or not, that's where Dr. Plant taught at. 80% of all bicycle accidents are under 106 G's. Yet our standards say all I have to do to sell a helmet is make sure that when I send it off to whatever outside test lab, that it doesn't exceed 300 G's. What's going on between 106 and 300?
Right.
There's a lot going on. So we're all trying to attack that,
Yeah, damn. That's great that we're changing to focus on that. 70 G's. And this thing is geared to help keep me sane so I can still talk to you guys on the podcast.
Dig it.
That is cool. So this has got the cone in it. This has got I see a ton of inside here. I don't know if you guys can see that. See the blue. Almost looks like octopus tentacles up in there, or octopus suction cups.
Yeah.
That's all part of that technology.
Yeah, that would be the LDL. Yeah.
Okay.
Low density layer.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
And the cone in there to keep that lower impact. And it sounds like majority of our crashes are going to be in that range where concussions can happen, right? Under 100, right there, like 80%, you said. Right. As much as I like to think I send it like some of these guys like Dylan Stark and all that is the numbers. And that is amazing that we're focused on that.
Think about all the dirt jumpers. If you do that, you guys, you crap. I mean, we started first in motorcycle helmets. Think about guys riding dirt bikes. When you ride a dirt bike, you go down almost every time you go out and ride. Now, hopefully it's a walk off, but usually it's small. But then they just keep adding up and adding up and adding up, and that's where you get the issues with, you know, boxers and, you know, and BMX guys. I mean, you're out messing around in the park or the skate park, and you think it's not a big deal, but those forces, you know, when especially the oblique impacts, your brain actually spins, and it's got different layers. It spins at different rates, and as it does that, it stretches and breaks the axions. And we've got hundreds of thousands of these things, so we just rewire ourselves. But when you keep doing it over and over and over again, it becomes a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Definitely so. Definitely so. Man, there's so much new technology that's coming out, and I'm so stoked that you guys are looking at this stuff to be able to help us out. It's great because it's somewhat of a leap of faith, isn't it? To be able to just say, okay, we're gonna go a little bit outside of the box. We're gonna think about something, and it's just not an idea. There's a lot of finances that have to happen behind it to be able to come up with the product. But are those leaps of faith a bit scary, or was there just so much data to show like we got to go this direction?
No, it's about okay. Jason got to pre-show you a graphic that's not coming out. He's lucky that I don't have another helmet in front here sitting on the boat.
You're literally the worst secret keeper in the industry.
I know. I want to share everything. My point is it's hard sometimes. There's a predecessor design to the Invaders, and the Invader, man, I so appreciate that people, you know, like that helmet, and that it, you know, that they like what it does and they feel safe in it. But there's a predecessor to this that we didn't pull the trigger because, you know, people were afraid it was too weird. It was too out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I'm stoked that we didn't abandon it because I really believe in it. So coming soon is a weirder design than that one.
Cool. You know that I've seen this design for the whole time, and it was definitely ahead of its time, and now it's the right time to bring this helmet out. And again, like I said, the worst secret keeper here will, if he's in the office, he'll show it to you. So if you happen to be in Morgan Hill,
take a picture.
He'll show it to you. Yeah, but you'll get to take a look at. In fact, I mean, I know Pierre is on here and he's seen it, and but I just can't wait to sell that helmet, honestly, because as much as he loves making it, I can't wait to sell it because I'm excited because it's some cool shit, and I get to sell cool shit.
You guys are gotten our like taste buds going on this. Like, can you give a little bit about what makes this helmet so different and unique? Or
I think I'll say this. I'll go back to what I said a little bit earlier about our bikes are getting better and better. So we need to have protection that kind of keeps up with what we're doing. At the same time, you don't always want to have a full carbon helmet now on your enduro ride, right? Right. And the Invader has done a pretty good job at balancing that, right? So the Invader 2.0, I don't call it's as soon as you put a face mask on a helmet, everybody goes, "Oh, that's a downhill helmet." Not necessarily. So while the helmet in your hands is a DH helmet, there's a story why that helmet exists. When we came out with the original Invader, I called it a full face trail helmet. Show the vents through the back, Jason. So if you look at that, how ventilated that is compared to the DH version. Like if you're going to have to climb, if you're out climbing up, some of the Southern California rides that I used to ride when I lived down there, it gets hot.
Yes. But
because your bikes are getting better, you're putting more jumps in. People are, doing more. You need more protection, right?
Yes.
So what the helmet Jason just showed is not a downhill helmet, even though it's got a face, a chin bar. That is a full face trail helmet. So, but it still feels much like that. So the thing that
to be fair, that chin bar is the stiff. It's as stiff as any full downhill helmet is there. It's just it's all this ventilation. This you just take this helmet and just put this against your chest. It's a DH rated chin bar, but
Actually,
it's
it passes the motorcycle standard, but who's
Thank you.
counting?
Yeah.
That's technicality.
There you go.
So,
Man.
you know, I guess partially I'm designing things for me. You know, I'm not, my days of being helicoptered off the hill over at Mount Hamilton for crashing at a downhill race is way over. It's quite a long time ago, but we don't need to talk about that. But
do you have to wait? Did you have to pay the bill, or was it picked up? That's the big question. People don't. I don't know. People don't know.
Okay, this was a bit. It wasn't recent enough that I would go on my word. I ended up not having to pay. It was covered by my insurance. Funny enough, the one place I had to argue with them the most that they didn't want to pay for was when the helicopter landed, and the ambulance. They had to have an ambulance to take me the 500 yards from the helicopter to the emergency room, and they wanted to charge me $1,000 for that.
For the
and everything else they paid for. They paid for the helicopter ride. They paid for the emergency room. But the stupid. But anyway, I fought it. They eventually paid for it. I am a big fan of the California Life Flight, like $100 a year. The motocross guys especially, you know, it's $100 a year insurance, and they'll pay for that part. So for mine came to about $18,000, and $10,000 was the helicopter ride, and $8,000 was the emergency room.
Wow.
So, and I went home that same day. I was body armored out. I was smart that time, because I won't talk about that bike that when I hit by the car and I wasn't wearing a helmet. Don't tell anybody.
Imagine our surprise.
Can you imagine the helmet guy gets caught, gets dead? Anyway. And I remember getting out of the hospital gurney and looking back, and there was just dirt all over the gurney because it all came with me. So I'm not here to sell you on grabbing that insurance, but it's in California anyway. It's not a bad thing. It's like $100 a year, and they'll cover your helicopter ride out. So
that's what I've heard, man. I've heard like two different stories. Like, it depends on where you are and who responds. Like, if it's the fire department in the area, yes, but if it's a private company who responds, then woo, there could be a bill.
Yeah. I hope my wife doesn't hear this. My wife's a obsessed backpacker, and they got into some tough spots. They needed some help, and once they got a local fire department, they came and did it for free. If it would have been the CHP coming in and everything else, it would have been thousands and thousands of dollars. So it is weird which agency shows up, what happens. It's, you know, and they basically said if they actually come and they dropped firemen down to help them, and they didn't charge them anything for that. If they would have helicoptered them out, then they have to charge them. So there's always this little nuances.
Wow.
So, yeah. Sorry to go off on a tangent.
No. As mountain bikers, we should know where that's at, because that's maybe like look up, read the tail fin. Okay, that's
ask the question. All right, am I paying for this?
And, right.
You know, so many of the local, and I imagine this is nationwide. So all you guys listening all over the place, so many of the local fire departments, search and rescue, are volunteer, and you know, they're like, we do this because we want to do this. We're stoked. You know, we hope you're okay, which is pretty common response. But they get to go practice. They wait for these calls. I mean, I've got a lot of fireman buddies, and you know, they're like, dude, we never get fires anymore. Usually it's going down and, you know, taking somebody who, you know, drank too much or whatever, you know. So they're stoked when they get
lock a door.
Yeah, real call.
I was on one of those calls. I was on one of those calls with my buddy. It was like, all right, we got action. It was like, you know, jumping into the fire truck and like sirens are blaring, and we went to a grocery store and helped unlock a lady's car. That was pretty epic. That was pretty
Yeah.
epic. Trail Monster here is saying the wife was life flighted in 2015. The bill was $49,000.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry.
Whoa. Was that covered by insurance, 49,000, or was that out of pocket? Good Lord. Also adds to it, it would have been a 2.5-mile drive to the hospital from where the accident happened.
So I'm sitting there. I long story, blah blah blah. I'm sitting there. I wake up. I'm taped to a backboard, and the guys are looking at me, and I'm like, dude, what do you get? I'm fine. I'll just drive down this hill. And they're like, no. And I would have, hindsight, I would have fought harder. I didn't know. And they're like, no. And I actually think what happened was they had a helicopter that had finished with the response and it was going back home, and they were just flying by and they go, oh, we'll pick them up.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And I'm like, I didn't know the difference. So yeah, sometimes, yeah, I'm with you. I should have just, somebody could have driven me, but you never know. You never know.
I guess that's the clarifying question. Yes.
A lot of people
Awesome
pay for those
Monster.
helicopter flights typically, and you get to do it for free. So
yeah, but
True.
you know what? You get to see nostrils. You get to see the nostrils of the firefighters. Like, you don't get to see out the fucking window. You don't see that.
Tubes and nostril and IV lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trail Monster's adding to it, says, I have great insurance. We only had to pay like $2,000 or so. Okay. Got it. But still, whew. That's
scary.
Yeah.
Scary. I'm glad she's okay.
Yeah, definitely glad she's okay. Oh man, you guys, I can't believe we're already at an hour. When it comes to sheesh, I mean, I'm excited to run this helmet. I can't wait to give feedback and review it and be in it in the races and everything. Especially after learning about everything tonight. What you guys have done to create something where it's in my head, it's like the suspension, I'm doing the soft, subtle, like low bump compliance all the way to the hard stuff, like the hard high impact. So I can't wait to I hope, like somebody said in here, I hope I don't test it.
We don't want you to.
But if I do, I know I'm in something that has some great technology in it, and that crash replacement is insane. I mean, just to revisit that, like if somebody were to be in the Cali helmet, they love it, they crash in it, they just contact you guys and say, hey, I got this thing, it's buckled. What do I do with it? They just send it in?
What you do is, I mean, you're on the website, you register it, and then if you have that unfortunate get off, then you there is a link on the website to go ahead and say, hey, I crashed my helmet. This is what happened. You upload the image of the crashed helmet. But we want to know the story. I mean, we really want to know the story because we've had some holy shit. How the fuck are you still alive moments?
Wow.
I mean, we've hit branches. I mean, I still have a picture of a guy that has one of our Maya helmets where it's got literally the width of my forearm across the helmet, and the guy lived to tell about it.
Whoa,
and so
you hit a branch or something?
We got
Yeah,
the
the
helmet
brand-
back,
it
and
was-
I'm like, what the hell happened? So I called him. We go, what the hell happened? He goes, a tree branch broke and fell right on top of my head. You know, and it took him a while. He got hurt. He got hurt.
Dang.
And it's those stories that where the shop and the riders around them become loyal Cali fans. It's not because they know that we're going to take care of them. We believe we have the best technology in the world. We're finally putting a lot of style in our helmets with the limited edition era starting this past year, continuing into 2025. So in case you thought it was wild for 2024 for the limited edition guys, 2025 is going to be even more amazing.
So I always like to be as open as I can. So just the fine print on that, it's one replacement per purchase. So the motocross guys, no, you can't go out every time you ride and get a new one because those guys crash like 6 times in a season. So you buy one, you crash it, you'll get a new one. Then you get to buy another one, and then the next one you can replace. So it's not an ever-ending thing. As much
or
as
I like to, I like to say honestly, it's 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah, 2 for the price. Yeah, that's how you got to look at it.
And
Yeah.
as far as I know, I have not come across a company that's doing that yet. Are you guys?
It's we're not the first to do it. Let's be honest, it's a pain in the ass for the logistically.
Sure. Yeah.
It's challenging for the team. It's funny because everybody at Cali's embraced it. At first, it was like, oh my god, this is so it's hard to determine, and I the story that got me was I was talking to Gary Turner one time, and they were talking about that they had these bikes, they're just random at Sea Otter one time, and that when he first got started, that there was all these bikes in the warehouse that were there for warranty, and here's the warranty guy going, oh man, that guy ran it into his carport. No way, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do that. And finally, and this is early on, he said, stop, replace them all. And that's a bike. That's not a helmet. So that's even a bigger commitment. So you got to give props. And what he said was that gave the confidence in the bike shops that we got your back, that we're not going to try and dick around your customers, that we give a shit about the people who want to support us. And that's just kind of how, we see the whole program is, we do have a little, our little saying behind the scene at Cali is gas. Just give a shit. Give a shit about your coworkers. Give a shit about the people who ride your products. And about, what we love to do is ride bikes. So, that story, because I was telling him that we were trying to do this and he's doing that. So you asked a question and I didn't answer it directly. Yes, I've seen it happen at other companies. Usually what happens is they end up changing it to something like you crash, we'll give you a 20% discount, even as much as a 50% discount. And so we're not the only people who have done things like this. I'm pretty happy with the fact that we've stayed with it as not just, hey, we're going to send you a coupon. We want you stoked about being a part of the family.
Wow.
Well, and I will say that like your local bike shop, because a lot of people prefer to buy their helmets at the local bike shop, and you go to your local Cali dealer, and a lot of the shops do not want to send their customer to us for their their crash replacement. So we've basically empowered the shops to handle that business for them, and then sometimes they may just do it in the store, and we'll just take care of it on the back end for it, and then we go from there. But a lot of times people do send it direct, but we also see that somebody will go to the local bike shop, say, hey, can you help take care of this for me? And then typically the shop will call us. It may take an extra day or two, but just because it might be their first time with us on a lifetime crash replacement. But once they start doing it, they'll do it more. It really depends on their own manpower and the type of shop it is. So,
wow.
So we just make it easy for the customer and the dealer.
Damn, that's a lot of logistics to be able to handle that with all the different shops and everything. Yeah, Jason's like, yes. But Brad's like, that's what you do. That's what you gotta do.
It's worth it.
Yeah, that's Jason's problem.
You know what? It's actually my sales team's problem now. But no, I get to listen to the stories. Part of it is like the best part of my job is listening to the stories. People will call in, they get to tell me what happened, and I don't get to listen to them as much as I did, but like I do get to hear the stories, and some of it's heartbreaking, some of it's amazing. I'm like, and again, it really more often than not is like, how the fuck are you still alive? Is typically the question. I mean,
wow.
But it's there for a reason. We want you to wear our helmets. We believe in what we do. I believe in who we are. I mean, this is where I want to be. And this is where Brad wants to be. This is where we feel like we're making a difference because we love riding, we love doing what we do, and it's not a what if, it's when, and we've all been there, and we want to make sure we have the best opportunity to protect you at every level, and whether it's on a mountain bike, on a road bike, on an urban bike, commuting to work. going to your bedroom. I mean, you know, from bedroom to office. So for some of
Right.
us that work at home half the time, and then or all the time. But we love doing what we do, and I love the stories, and I love hearing them. So
That's awesome, Jason. Yeah, a lot of people were saying they love your energy, love your guys' energy, love the fact that you guys are so committed to the sport. There it is, MTB Sheen Queen, love the passion. Yeah, it's refreshing, man. It's not just like we're creating a product but you guys are writers just like us. You guys love the sport just like us. You guys creating helmets that you all want to wear, that we want to wear. It's going to be so cool. To wrap up the show, you guys, I have a spin the wheel, Jason, that I have put together. And let me go ahead and share that screen. So if you haven't had a chance yet to input anything in the comments, I see that there are people on. And if you haven't, go ahead and put your name down in there. We will add you to the spin the wheel. There you go. Brian Gong is saying Jason is a great human and he wants to meet.
he lies.
He wants to meet Brad. He says, I still want to meet Brad. All right. So we are going to do a spin the wheel here. For the folks who made comments, go ahead and put them in there. If you're already in, I will then pop this up. Here we go. Let's go with the spin the wheel. Can you guys see that on your side? All right, here we go. We are going to spin the wheel, and wherever it lands, you will be the winner. Jason, I'll get this. We'll get the contact information and send it to you. But here we go. Good luck, everybody. The wheel is a spinning, and let's see where it lands. It is going to land on
Kim,
MTB Sheen Queen. Congratulations. You are a winner of the helmet. Jason, you are going to send over which one was it that you were going to do?
Kim has a choice of an Invader 2.0, Invader DH, or whatever helmet, honestly.
Damn.
If you want to half shell instead, I'm happy to help you there instead. So,
okay,
because not everyone rides a full face. They should if you're riding mountain bikes and you're riding things with 6 and 7 inch travel. But like I should have in September, yeah, whatever you want. So,
yeah, okay, congratulations. Oh, she's saying, donate to Pimp, the one who just took a digger out in the Lake Tahoe area, because she's actually going to be in the Cali DH for the races coming up in Canada in September, which is what the other helmet is sitting right next to me for. So in that case, we will do it. Going once, MTB Sheen Queen, going twice, donating it to Trail Pimp. And there you go. We will donate it to Trail Pimp. So Trail Pimp, congratulations, brother. Look at this MTB community, man. Such givers. I love it. I love it. So Trail Pimp, get to me and we will get you over to Jason. She says, yes, definitely yes. And Trail Monster is saying, awesome, Kim. Yeah, perfect. She says, thank you, Callie. Thank you so much. Definitely. Dude, you guys are freaking awesome. I love it, and I am excited to rock this helmet. I can't wait to try this. And you know what? The timing is perfect, because if you look up here, I had some helmets that took some diggers, and they are done. And they don't have a lifetime crash replacement. They have a discount code. So I now have the opportunity to run this during some races in Canada and run some local trails with it and put together a YouTube review on it. And I'm really excited. Thank you guys for the education on this. Anything that we didn't cover that you guys would like to say before we unplug?
I don't know. Just
appreciate the time. It was fun talking to you. Good to meet you. I'm gonna hit you up when I'm in SoCal. I'm jealous that you're going to Canada.
Yeah, awesome. It's gonna be awesome. And Brad, yes, definitely hit me up when you're in SoCal. We will get some rides in for sure.
Mark, thank you for having us. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much, man.
Oh man, thank you guys. It's been awesome to learn about Cali Protective. I love what you guys are doing out there, the passion behind the sport, behind the technology for all of us in the sport. I wish you guys a ton of success and look forward to having you guys back on the show for some other stuff. That'll be very cool. I see they were saying jerseys and gloves and other things. And then also, for the folks out there who don't know, there were some goggles that came in, Trinity goggles that came. So they got goggles too as well. to go with these helmets. So you guys take a look at Cali Protective if you haven't, and if you are in the market to look at things, definitely consider them, especially after learning about everything that they do in the protection side tonight. So pretty epic. Guys, thank you so much. To the chat, thank you all. And Trail Pimp, get back to me on that so we can send this helmet out to you. All right.
Appreciate all y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks so much.
Episode 160 in the queue. Cheers, folks.
Cheers.
See you all next time.